This is a 10-minute clip from my full-length video, Mediumship Class 9, titled Ethics and Responsibilities of Mediumship, which itself runs for over 2 hours. This clip is just a short excerpt, and in it I talk about mediums who blame others, and there is a degree of humour in that as well also, but there are some serious teaching points underlying it.
So, one thing I've watched over the years, I'm a very analytical person. Some of you who know me know I have a very left brain, analytical brain. When I'm working as a medium, I use my right brain, my creative, my psychic abilities, all of that. But when I'm not working as a medium and I'm watching mediums work, I use my left brain quite a lot. And I love it when mediums are working and it's not going well for them. And guess what? When it's not going well, we can always blame someone. So mediumship not working well for you? Just find someone to blame. That's this next part. So mediums who blame other people. So there's so many different, remember that first diagram, all the different parties involved? We can always find someone to blame. So the spirit communicator is a dead easy one to blame, because let's face it, nobody else in the audience is interacting with them, would you agree? So you can't really offend the audience by blaming the spirit communicator. You can't offend the recipient too much, because they don't know what's going on. So they're a dead easy target. So one of my favourites is, the spirit communicators just had to leave and go somewhere important. They've gone and left. Okay, fine. Oh no, the communicator's not concentrating very well. They're not able to link with my mind. I'm really sorry, but this link's just not working. I'll have to let go of it. Okay. I bet still the spirit communicator's not being well trained at this. They're just no good at it. You know, your loved one in the spirit world will have to go away and get a bit more trained. They're no good at it. But hang on a minute, they were quite good at it last week. When I linked with the medium last week over at that other church. Oh well, they're not very good with me though. Oh no, there's another spirit interfering with me. You lot in the spirit world, sort yourselves out. You're all getting on the same channel. It's not working for me. Sort it out, sort it out. And my favourite, when a medium does something naughty, when a medium says something wrong or totally tactless or really upsets somebody, they say, well, spirit gave it to me, so I have to give it. I work for spirit. Whatever they give me, I give you. What, no tact filter? No sensitivity? No compassion in between? No. If they give it me, I give it to you. Tough. And you think to yourself, well, they're blaming the spirit world for giving it to them. But at the end of the day, they don't understand how mediumship works. So say I'm aware of a lady in the spirit world. And say I'm aware that towards the end of this lady's life, I realised she wasn't able to look after herself. And she let her house go. She let herself go. And sometimes when she needed to go, she couldn't. And really, sometimes it wasn't always the most pleasant smell. I can sense all of that. It cascades from one piece after another. So I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a lady here. Her house is a right state. She doesn't look very good. She can't look after herself. And God, she doesn't half smell of you know what. She's been wetting herself quite a lot. Is that fair enough to give? No. So the spirit lady is very upset. How dare you talk about me like that? The communicators say, well, I'm not taking it. No one calls my nan like that. That's not very fair about me nan. And the medium's saying, but I'm only given what I got. No, you can apply the tact filter. I've got a lady here, I know that towards the end, she really struggled to look after herself. And at the end as well, that she shows me that sometimes she wasn't always able to keep herself the way she would have liked. Would you understand that? Yes. We can apply our sensitivity, our compassion for spirit, as well as a compassion for people here. And that tact filter, that it's a public environment. We don't want to embarrass the recipient. We don't want to embarrass the spirit communicator. We're doing it for the right reasons. Would you agree? So, so this bit, I disagree. If anyone ever says that, poorly trained. Better still, blame your guides and helpers. They're the ones creating the conditions for it to work. If it ain't working, it's their fault. They're useless. Sack them. So my guides and helpers don't know how to do their job. My favourite excuse for when someone's mediumship wouldn't work is that their guides, I'm really sorry, I can't work tonight. My guides have left. They got called away somewhere urgent, so they've left me. And without my guides here, I can't work. I think your guides would know if you're going to be working. I think they'd be there. I don't think anything more important would come along for them. Or I think they could do 2 jobs at once. But maybe they are doing too many jobs at once. Do you know, they're multitasking so much they keep dropping the ball on me. And it's not working out. So the guides just can't create the right conditions tonight. I don't know, we've got a bunch of amateurs in tonight. The professionals have gone somewhere else. So we can blame our guides. You see this a little bit as well. And, really. So who else can we blame? Again, we can always blame our audience. Not working very well, blame the audience. Why not? So you hear people mediums say, oh, I had a poor audience tonight, didn't work very well. Yeah, I've done much better than that, poor audience. What do they mean by a poor audience? If you ask them, they say, oh, well, there were negative energies. They were difficult, obstinate. They all sat there with their arms folded. They just don't understand mediumship. They don't understand what it's about. They're no good. They were disinterested. They weren't interested in what I was saying. Well, that's probably because you were boring. Or probably because you weren't doing the job properly. Or they were blocking me. Someone in that audience was sending me energy to block me. Or there were people getting on my link and they're doing sort of strange things and affecting me from working. Or they were always too noisy. They were fidgeting through their pockets, looking at their mobile phones. In fact, one of them was asleep snoring loudly. Couldn't work through it. There wasn't enough of them. There's only 3 of them. I couldn't work with 3. Okay, there was 40 of them, but they had no energy. It was flat. The energy was so flat in there, I couldn't work. The energy, or best of all, partway through the link, ladies and gentlemen, I'm terribly sorry, the energy's gone. It's rushed out the door, I have to go somewhere else. I can't work anymore, there's no energy to work in. Well, technically it doesn't rush out the door, it just depletes, doesn't it? And really what you're saying here is you've not learned to build your power to be able to cope with those circumstances. And what you're saying with all of this is that as a medium, you haven't developed your gift well enough to be able to push through circumstances. And okay, people can be a little bit challenging. People's energies can be occasionally a little bit negative. But as a professional medium, you can move through that. Of course you can. Similarly, the venue. Oh, it had a poor energy. Have you seen the state of it? It's in a right mess. Or the committee are always having to go at each other. It's got a really negative atmosphere. You can't work there. Oh, it's too hot. It's too cold. It's too smelly. It's too damp. It's too noisy. You can always hear the road outside. But when you're in an altered state, you move away from all of that. And you move into the altered state, the connection with spirit, and that's what's there. So again, I disagree with all of this. Sure, it can affect it a little bit, but if in doubt, funnily enough, we can blame the recipient. There's quite a lot to blame the recipient for, isn't there? So the recipient blocked me. They just weren't open to a message. They weren't open, they have a difficult energy, they weren't interested enough, they didn't have enough understanding or knowledge of the process, they were negative in their attitude wasn't right, they didn't answer me well, they were answering really strangely, their answers and their body language were totally incongruent, it didn't make sense, I couldn't work with them. There was no rapport between me and them, they were so pedantic, they kept saying I need a little bit more before I can take that, and they kept saying well you're not quite right, so just pedantic, difficult people, don't want to work with them. Have you heard any of these? I can see by some of you giggling that you have. So again, we can always find someone to blame. But my point is that we can develop ourselves to overcome all these challenges. Anytime you hear a medium making any excuses like this, just remember, they've not developed themselves enough. When we think going back to those different categories of mediums, the bottom ones blame a lot of people. The middle ones sometimes blame some people. The top 30, 40% that don't often blame anybody else, they recognise it's themselves that needs to change. So we have to have personal responsibility. We have to recognise that, really, all these challenges, it's an excuse to blame everybody else. Sure, mediumship has its ups and its downs. Sure, it's variable. And we can come back to that one way back over here, if I can get it out and show you again. So we're coming back to this one here. So we can now see that these mediums here may have the wrong motivation, may not recognise the responsibilities, may not necessarily have the right attributes, may like to blame everybody else when it's going wrong. These ones here may have some knowledge, may have some of the right motivation for it, but may have some of the negative attributes as well. Their motivation might be good, it might not be, sort of half-y-half. And again, in terms of understanding who they're serving, in terms of excuses, they occasionally pop in. But as we get higher up here, the motivation's right. They understand the responsibilities. They've got the right attributes from this point onwards. And we're also recognising that we can't really make excuses. Only person who's responsible is us. And the very top 10%, that's where it's at. But the thing is, mediumship is variable. We have to acknowledge that every medium works over a range. So the very good mediums may be excellent on a good day, but on a bad day only good. A good medium may be very good or fair. A fair medium may range from good to poor, and a poor medium may range from nearly fair to terrible. So that they have their spreads. But what we want to do is to make sure that on our bad days, we're still good, we still have enough knowledge, we still have enough ability, we're still doing it for the right reasons, that even when we're not doing it as well as we would like because conditions aren't perfect, we're still good. That's what we're aiming for. We're aiming to move ourselves that way, always with our mediumship. Does that make sense? Good. So does that give you an insight into why some mediums are poor? All that information. And does it make you realise you want to be good? Good. That's what we want to hear.
The Mediumship Class 9 video from which this clip was taken is available to buy as both a download and a DVD from www.martintwycrossproducts.co.uk. For more information about my products and my study program, you can visit www.martintwycross.co.uk or www.coursinmediumship.com for the study program.